one, but now they're looking a little less hot. And yeah, apparently we're 2.5 minutes into this game.
All right, this is the latest intro into a cast I've ever done. It's 2-1. It's 2.5 minutes in. And, okay, we have to tackle this, though, Peter, because I'm not sure if our panel can handle it. Ninjas in Pyjamas played against Secret in the Gamers Without Borders tournament, and they last picked Medusa and lost. In this tournament, it was their first hero that they grabbed. What possibly changed?
It was 2-3, right?
Yeah, it was paired up with Vengeful Spirit.
Dusa used to be a popular 2-3 hero. People would pick. It was just to carry that. As long as you could lane it mid if you needed to. You could also lane it on a side lane. They're doing it in the off lane this game, but he can farm, and even if he gets behind, he just goes back to the jungle and farms, similar to like a Wraith King. For a while, Dusa kind of had like, oh, it's the level 1 fight.
We're going to go back and watch that first blood where Funnick just stumbled into 5 heroes of Ninjas in Pyjamas. Oh, we even get to see some of the bounty runes breaking down. Looks like Seneko trying to grab one away from HellRaisers, but didn't get it. Feeds away his life, too. Back into the game, though, we do see that Era dies to Roger, so the Elder Titan Slardar lane. Pretty potent if you can get on top of somebody.
This is a really hard lane for Dusa Shouty, and Elder Titan is quite good against, I'd say, all of NIP's heroes besides Mars. Even Mars to some extent. Like, you can just use your stomp and ults in the, inside of Mars ult or something.
So you're okay with Ninjas in Pyjamas and them picking up Medusa? Do you think they just like had some good experiences in scrims and stuff that made them change their idea on this hero over the course of 2 weeks?
Yeah, they must have. And like we mentioned, they have been kind of slipping lately, so they've come into this game with like a little bit more of a game plan.
Okay.
I think oftentimes on second pick, you're able to kind of be very you can kind of pre-plan a lot of your strategies just because you're oftentimes picking blind anyways.
Sure. So
maybe they just thought Deuce Avenge was something that they wanted to try. I definitely remember doing Deuce Avenge openers myself at a certain point. But that was way back when people were doing the Deuce with like Manta Rapier Rush.
Yeah.
And then just get an Aegis and walk down a lane. And I'm not sure exactly what happened to that strategy. Part of it got nerfed or teams just got better at playing around it. But we'll see if the similar thing happens here.
Nice stomp on a Supreme. Doesn't lead into a kill. Just a bit of damage. Nothing major.
Invoker, pretty wild pick as well. This whole game is full of some crazy picks.
Yeah, mostly off of the Ninjas of Pyjamas side. I guess the weirdest one, we haven't seen a ton of Slardar core in this tournament or Elder Titan 4.
No, definitely not. So that was exciting to see when I came over here and looked at the drafts. It's like, oh, got some new heroes.
Isn't it kind of weird to have this sort of, because they basically have a bit of a minus armor with Slardar and ET combined, but doesn't Medusa, isn't the whole thing about Mana Shield is that it takes the damage before any damage reduction or amplification? So doesn't that make it kind of like not that good against Medusa? Oh, nice. Spear. Stun into Spear into a straight-up combo that kills Nyx and takes away his kill streak.
Yeah, minus armor is traditionally not particularly great versus Dusa for the reasons that you mentioned. However, Elder Titan reducing all of her agility is still quite good.
Sure.
The armor from agility, right?
Yeah, that base armor that she has. And you can see they are just ripping into Charlie. And Shadow Demon can't really do much about it to stop these guys. These bruisers just run at Charlie and Era, beat him up.
Yeah, Elder Titan is really good against heroes that don't have like stuns or attack speed slows.
Okay.
Because he just gets like double damage basically from the Spirit even just hitting 2 heroes, and then he just runs on you. So
what do you think about the new Aghanim Scepter that they added to the game? Him getting basically a free BKB whenever he pulls the Astral Spirit back into him?
I think it's nice. I think it's super nice. But you would buy BKB for the same reasons before. Now you can just go Ags, and it's like a little bit more. I don't know. It's kind of like, it's kind of cool the way it works.
Yeah.
It like rewards. Like the more people you get with your spells, the longer your BKB lasts.
Saberlight trying to protect his support here against Nyx. Still has the bug on him, and they make short work of that hero. But if Saberlight does manage to land this spear, bursting with the God's Rebuke, that is a worthy trade.
Yeah, Mars getting level 6 before Weaver and Oracle here. able to get that kill, which I was going to say the laning phase was looking very dominant for HellRaisers.
It really was, but now Kasani in some trouble. All those Spirit Siphons are keeping him alive, but there's too many heroes here, I think. A stomp that stops everybody. All three. The Tornado's still going out, but it's not enough damage to finish him off.
He's gonna get him.
Roger, is he going to get this kill as well? Looks like he will. Supreme out of spells. Just now got the mana for Cold Snap, but that wouldn't have stopped old Roger. He just keeps on trucking. In the top lane, they do manage to kill the Oracle, but a much bigger fight in mid. Kasani staying alive and killing the opposing mid laner. Good play for HellRaisers.
Roger's having a great tournament, actually. They played the Earthshaker yesterday, played fantastically, and dominating the laning phase here on Elder Titan, which is one of the strengths of the hero, so nice to see it actually happening.
Were you pretty confident about, like, when he went away from Virtus Pro and they switched up that whole roster, were you confident he was going to find himself on a good team? Did he make a mark on you as a player?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think a lot of times you'll have a good player join a good team, and they'll find success, and you're like, oh, yeah, wow, he's good, right? But the truth is there's a lot of good Dota players that don't have good teams.
There's a lot of people who were Secret is always that name, that there was a time where they were just going through a lot of players. You know, MP, Kezu, you know, there was a lot of names that were like, oh, he's on a top tier team now, and then once he was out of Secret, they didn't immediately find the same spot in the ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to there's a lot of things that need to line up for you to be on like the championship level kind of team. And a lot of it is sometimes not really in your control. So he's been building himself back up slowly, and great performances like this will, you know, say a lot for people that are, you know, looking for a new 4 position.
9-4, 2,000 net worth lead for HellRaisers. Still not really breaking up our laning phase too much. Everyone is still sticking around except for the Medusa. He's done with that bottom lane. So Funnick is completely free farming, and Medusa is off in the jungle. So we're going to have a very fast Blink Dagger, it looks like, for the initiator of HellRaisers.
Yeah, you hate when this has to happen. NIP has to just totally abandon a lane. Slardar just gets total free farm. Elder Titan no longer has to be there. He can start moving around, and Funnick's making the... Oh, looks like we're having a little fight here, maybe.
Baiting out Miposhka. He's baiting for Kasani to be able to come through. He does instantly die, and the TP out. They actually don't have a way to stop this, so Saberlight's good. A bait that doesn't really turn out so well. Funnick, he tries to invade into the jungle to take away some bounty runes, but it looks like Supreme got it anyway. They do manage to run down Seneko eventually, trading 5 positions, basically. But Saberlight was the much bigger kill.
I was going to say, I think Funnick is making the perfect item decision by rushing the Blink Dagger.
Yes.
Yeah. NIP's gotten to a point where they can't really touch Slardar in the laning phase, so they're just choosing to ignore him and kind of letting him free farm. But once he gets a Blink Dagger, they'll have no choice but to deal with him.
You don't want to fall into that trap of being like, oh, because I'm free farming, I'm going to become this big semi-carry.
Yeah,
Invoker coming in from behind. Roger going to be burned out of a lot of his mana, but still lacking the damage to be able to finish him off. The spear just barely misses. Now the swap, they're trying to bail out Saberlight. Seneko putting himself in the danger zone, but Nyx stays after him with Bug on him. Saberlight's losing more and more of his armor, and Nyx should manage to get this kill as Saberlight can't do anything about it. Gives away his kill streak too. Eventually, though, on the other side, Roger did die. The Invoker ran him down. He was far and away from any towers.
Quasplex Invoker is a pretty difficult hero to pull off. I have not seen Supreme play it recently, but seems to be doing okay.
Nice Tornado EMP to take Kasani out.
Sometimes I think this hero is just countered by like Magic Wand and Mana Boots. So usually he goes like 4 points Quas, and then he starts getting points in Exort.
Yeah.
And then you eventually just become like a
regular.
Yeah, you become late game Invoker.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where you can see real Invoker players.
God forbid that they get like an Arcane Ring out of the neutral items or something like that
exactly.
too.
Like,
people are just buying a bunch of Clarities nowadays.
Devastating.
Big old ancient stack for the Medusa to farm. We'll see if HellRaisers are aware of this. They don't have any vision in that area just yet, and if they're ever going to spot it and invade.
Oh, I got the Faded Brooch, though. It's nice. And he's actually relatively close to Spirit Vessel, which is a huge item for this hero.
Yeah, certainly, especially against heroes like the like the Death Prophet.
Ever since they added the talent for Invoker that reduces the cooldown of Cold Snap,
he threw out the tornado, but Funnick had blinked right behind him. Hits him with the bash immediately. He's going to be swapped out. Saved in part by the Arena. Kasani, a lot of that damage being taken away by the Oracle at the Fate's Edict, as well as now the False Promise. Kasani getting out a lot of Spirit Siphon. It's going to be a decent amount of healing, but not enough to save him. The tower, Nyx coming through. All of this minus armor. Both the bugs as well as the corrosive haze is on these people, but he can't actually go for Supreme. He now goes for the supports instead. Air's going to be target, followed up by Saberlight. Gets hit by Roger's ultimate. They're going to chase him down underneath the tower. Charlie and Sineko, as well as Supreme, though, they're still here to be able to sandwich Funnick, trying to make sure that some of these heroes get out, but it looks like Roger's going to be the sacrificial lamb. A dive that does not allow HellRaisers to assert their dominance completely. They do lose some heroes in return.
Yeah, really awesome swap and timing by Sineko there on the Vengeful Spirit. He's kind of bailed his teammates out of bad positions twice now with a level 1 swap. So good timing on the tornado, like you mentioned. They're trying to burst the Invoker, but he's totally fine here.
Similarly, it's they're going to have a hard time dealing with this Oracle a lot of times, because he has a lot of answers to a Quaswex Invoker. This time around, fortunately, they were able to just focus him down because he was so isolated.
In this fight, the Death Prophet just tanked, like, I don't know, like 10 hits from the Tier 1 tower or something. And then it started hitting Slardar, almost killed him as well.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Nyx had a double damage. No wonder they were so aching for a team fight and were willing to dive towers like that. They felt like they had a big advantage.
Yeah, so it looks like HellRaisers is kind of feeling the pressure, or at least wants to pressure their opponents. NIP does have the Dusa just kind of farming, trying to hit his timings. HR is trying to push it.
And why is it that HellRaisers want so desperately to take this mid tower? What is it about this tower that's so important?
It gives access to both of the sides of the jungle for Radiant, so it'll make Deuce's farming a little bit scarier. NIP is just defending it with 4, and HellRaisers is kind of waiting to get it as 5, right? So they can push forward.
Yeah, but you can even see the Medusas playing around this area.
Yeah, she'll show up if HellRaisers dives too far.
Looks like they did clear out through that camp with the Mask of Madness buildup. 13-9, and HellRaisers, I don't think it's really gone to plan. I think they had this idea that they were going to be able to pick up this Blink Dagger. They had a pretty decent 2 or 3K net worth lead earlier. They were going to take that mid tower and start taking over some of those Medusa farming areas, but Ninjas of Pyjamas has been holding for now.
Yeah, Slardar really hasn't been able to translate this Blink Dagger into any more momentum. His net worth has kind of halted.
Diffuser Blade buildup for the Weaver. Combine that with your level 15 talent, the Mana Break. You've got an okay answer against the Medusa. Jump forward, trying to grab Sineko first. Oh, jeez, look at all that damage. Funnick is going to be bailed out by Miposhka, but Charlie in a really great position for that Stone Gaze. Forces Miposhka away, and they put so much damage into Fung. He's surely going to pop. Supreme is going to find Miposhka still chasing down the Quaswex Invoker. Speedy little guy. Now he's on a dominating streak. Sees Roger, attempts to go for that stomp, but stopped by the Cold Snap, and will easily get this kill with the Spirit Vessel. Now he's a bit threatened by Nyx. Nyx deciding an easier target is maybe Era. Supreme easily ghost walks away, and looks like Era could be left behind. They have the disruption into the spear, not up yet, so Nyx is fine to be able to run around. They don't have the vision, though, to be able to see Supreme, so they just go for that one support pick-off. Still, though, a bad fight for them, a 2-for-3 exchange to the favor of Ninjas and Pyjamas.
Yeah, it's really difficult for HellRaisers to take fights because of the multiple saves available on NIP's lineup with Vengeful Spirit and Shadow Demon. They only really have this Blink Slardar stun, and if that person could save...
Funnick jumps forward, but because of the spear latching onto that tower, Nyx was not able to follow up that damage. And once again, Ninjas and Pyjamas doing very well to play around each other. So much single target, they're making up for it by just playing 4 or 5 man constantly.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that yesterday in the EG Crazy series. Crazy had a lineup that really just had a bunch of you know, they had like a Bat Rider with the lasso, they had a Bane with a Fiend's Grip, they had some, you know, Nyx Assassin running around with Vendetta, and EG just walked around as 5 people, and every team fight was a complete joke. Like, Crazy just got rolled, and I think their lineup is a little bit more team fight on Radiant. The Elder Titan stomp is quite nice.
I mean, it's a Death Prophet lineup as well. Those are always pretty dangerous in team fights. So why isn't this going the HellRaisers' way? If you're in their position right now, what are you saying? Okay, we need to change this up.
They've had a really hard time taking this mid tower. NIP defended it with 4, and
Tornado. EMP, that's going to be able to survive. Okay, Maposhka's just dead, and his vision, he tried to take away that Observer Ward. Doesn't last.
Oh, man,
the Arena's going to be able to catch Funnick. There's no way out of this one for him. Stump, even hitting all those heroes doesn't stop him. And they don't take that mid tower. I think it's even in deny range. Ninjas the Pyjamas, they're in a good position to push the mid tower themselves.
Yeah, and after they get this mid tower, NIP will look to take control of probably the bottom area of the map and just farm Ancients on Dusa perpetually.
That is kind of the advantage of Dire side, right? If you are the aggressors, you get to hold 2 Ancient camps at
Radiant
once.
does have good Roach, though, so they could just kind of force NIP back to their side of the map.
I like the it's not your traditional combo heroes with Medusa. I mean, I guess Venge certainly is, but I was thinking of the Invoker. The Alacrity Medusa. I always like some sort of damage amplification to bring the Medusa online a little bit quicker.
Does more points in Quas make Alacrity better?
No, I believe that is... I believe it's Wex and Exort, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I just saw... I just didn't expect him to put more than 4 points into Quas.
Gotcha.
He put 1 point in Exort, and then he's maxing Quas. I'm just curious what are the benefits of doing that.
Corrosive Haze, they do have a really good Roche lineup, as you pointed out. That's why Ninjas the Pyjamas are going to try and interrupt it. They pop the Stone Gaze. Roche is low. They're going to be able to take it for free. Grab the Aegis and Cheese, or Aegis rather. They do manage to get the Spear onto the Death Prophet after the save from the Oracle, and it looks like he's just stuck in no man's land. The Spirit Siphon, he's going to try and heal up, but it's not enough. There was way too much damage pushed into him. 2 cores down on the side of HellRaisers. They try. It felt like they just weren't getting any momentum. They're like, damn it, fine, we'll do Roshan before we get that mid tower, and even that goes poorly.
Well, they had to do something. They can't just sit and watch Dire farm those Ancients. So I like the idea, but Dusa is kind of just destroying them.
Yeah,
oh, really Dusa also got that buff where the Stone Gaze increases her movement speed.
Yeah.
So she just like runs in, sprinted. Made her such a better hero. Yeah, maybe Dusa's back. It's doing super well this game.
Cold Snap. Roger having such a hard life against that. He's not in danger of dying, but he may just have to go back to the fountain and reset.
I think it's just quite difficult to play heroes like Slardar and against Save. He just keeps every target he goes on just never has even a chance to die, it seems like.
Nyx does manage to juke the Tornado. The Cold Snap is slowing him down. They did have the Sentry placed out. He does pop his ult and go to the other side. Era, he very quickly gets torn apart by just a couple of hits, but now they have Nyx. He should be dead right here. Stuck inside the arena and the Roshan pit. Funnick also the same. Stuck in a narrow little pathway in that river. An easy double there. Saberlight really turning up with this Mars. Been enjoying watching him and his arena placement. Looks like Roger's dead, and this is a massacre at this point in time. It just seems like to me, Peter, that HellRaisers, the way they drafted against that, it put them on a bit of a razor's edge. They had to really outperform Ninjas the Pyjamas in those first couple of pushes.
Yeah, NIP just kind of chilled and defended their buildings, and then it got to a point where it seemed like the HellRaisers were just on that timer, right?
Yeah.
They just felt like they had to run into NIP. And I think Invoker played really well this game. Was just a huge thorn in HellRaiser's side. Just disrupted all of their pushes. Just kind of slowed them down, letting Dusa get to this Manta.
And now he almost has Solar Crest on top of the Alacrity that he can give to the Medusa. So she's amping up quite a bit. They now have the Blink Dagger for Saberlight, so they actually have some hard initiation because most of the time they've been save and swap to save allies.
Yeah, he hasn't really needed the Blink Dagger until now, because now NIP is actually going on to HellRaisers. Before it was always HR just running into them.
We do have a decent item that could change things around, the BKB for the Death Prophet. She's been struggling with the Spirit Vessel.
I don't know if it's going to save her.
Yeah.
It is a big item for sure, so definitely worth mentioning. But Stone Gaze goes through BKB, and they have an overwhelming amount of physical damage with Vengeful Spirit plus Dusa, and Alacrity and Solar Crest, right?
The list just kind of feels like it goes on and on.
And he can catch a Purge, right? Shouting is really good against Death Prophet with the Demonic Purge.
Yeah. I mean, part of the strength of Death Prophet is her mobility. Nice swap back spear combo. Ninjas of Pyjamas. That was nice and pretty. And could be a nice bow that they put on this game 1, because it's looking like, I mean, the Medusa is banging on your tier 3 at 23 minutes. I don't know if HellRaisers has a later game timing that they suddenly turn this around on one of the best late game heroes in the game.
Yeah, but they might be able to catch NIP slipping during their high ground siege.
Okay. So that's their opportunity. It's got to be a mistake from Ninjas of Pyjamas. You catch one hero out, and maybe you catch a couple more as they retreat.
Yeah, optimistically. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm trying to find some chances for him here.
Yeah.
Elder Titan does have a lot of team fight, but NIP should be kind of like positioned and spread out, right? Especially with Venge and Shouty. I mean, they actually have 2 saves for Dusa, or like Invoker if he gets caught or something.
Is there a similarity between being a in-game captain and being a commentator, and that when you're on the losing side, you can't just be like, all right, guys, this is GG. Like, you still want to play out the game for that 10% chance, right?
Yeah, sure. I guess as a commentator, I try not to say that games are over unless I truly believe they are. I honestly don't really believe that this game is over, but it's definitely an uphill battle for HellRaisers at this point.
Yeah,
there was a game yesterday I was like, nah, it's over.
Yeah, I heard. And you definitely weren't wrong.
No, and it's, I always try to remember as a Dota player is like, as terrible as I can play sometimes, just remember that the people on the other side, they're just like you. They're just a bunch of noobs.
Charlie just tearing this tier 3 apart. They're going to try and slow it down with a few stomps, but it feels like they certainly can't go on the Medusa first. Maybe if this tier 3...
smoke around.
They got to smoke around. They got to get to this back line.
And they get a high ground ward.
Maybe a big initiation from Funnick, but the smoke breaks. They've already spotted Funnick before he could blink in, and he's dead, just like that. The Arena's going to be able to catch the Death Prophet with the spear. She dies before the Oracle could save him because he's on the other side of the arena. Didn't have the reach to be able to do so, and Mapochka will eventually be chased down. That's going to be a 1-for-3 trade. And Roger, I guess he just felt like dying with the rest of the boys. Ran out, punched Charlie once. Nyx is going to do a little bit of creep cutting, but I believe Ninjas of Pyjamas still have creeps, so backdoor protection will not go up.
Yeah, Funnick actually got a little bit impatient there. The rest of his teammates, I think, had the bright idea of running to the high ground and running totally around, and he just decided, I'm just going to go straight in. And because he made that decision different than his teammates, his smoke broke, and IP saw him, and their plan was foiled.
Would you say that's one of the most important features of like some of the best teams? You can win with different strategies, but being on the same page.
Absolutely, especially on movements like this, where the element of surprise is important.
Ninjas of Pyjamas will manage to take the melee racks in mid before they back up. There's still a potential Roshan that could be spawning soon if they want to solidify their advantage even more. He broke apart the Mask of Madness to complete his Butterfly, and we'll be looking at Scotty next.
Did you say they got the melee racks or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, they're at a huge advantage now.
Yeah, Dota Plus says it's 99-1.
99-1. Yeah, there could be I guess Dusa not buying a Rapier. But yeah, if maybe the Dusa loses Rapier, they could maybe win.
But apparently Charlie's saying, this game's in the bag as long as I don't throw away a over 10K net worth swing. So.
Not gonna flops in it.
Yeah. 16, 24, 15K advantage. Ninjas of Pyjamas, they're pretty much, it's a luxury. They can try and end the game whenever they want. They can wait for Roshan and force HellRaisers to fight outside of their base if they want to.
Unfortunately, they still need to get this tier 2. Oh, but here we go.
They're going to smoke into the triangle and run into several heroes of HellRaisers. The arena's going to go out, but Kasani already activated his BKB, so he's going to chase down Supreme here, and they will manage to bring down the Invoker. But can they deal with Charlie? He's just standing in the middle of everybody right now, trying to lay out some damage. They're smartly ignoring her and trying to go for the squishier heroes as they can. But most of Ninjas Pyjamas is huddled around this Medusa, making sure that none of them are going to get picked off without being in Medusa's range. Nyx, oh my god, what was that? He jumps in, does manage to survive. Pops his ultimate at the very last second there, and the mana is running low on the Medusa. In fact, now it's out. Can they actually burst her down? Kasani going to be bailed out by Maposhka. Still has the exorcism out. Going to be able to kill Charlie here. The spear back. Kasani, I believe, is healed up enough. He will survive. Funny didn't have the bash ready to go just yet, so they won't manage to get Saberlight. They do lose Maposhka to Seneko Illusion.
Team, please help me.
Can't forget about those illusions, man. But hey, a good fight for HellRaisers. We could see a way they can win. This Medusa is still not that gigantic threat that can 1v5.
Yeah, they actually isolated the Invoker 3 versus 1 in the river up there, and nobody helped Invoker. No Shadow Demon Disruption, no Venge Swap, nothing. So Invoker was killed first, was unable to give Dusa Alacrity, unable to kind of give an IP and any of the disables that they need to connect on kills. There was an Oracle ult when DP almost died, and the DP also has a Blade Mail now, so a lot of the damage that Dusa is doing is getting returned back onto her, which is helping reduce her mana a lot in fights. A lot of things went HR's way there, but they're still at a disadvantage, I'd say.
Yeah, because now there's an exorcism on cooldown. They probably don't feel great about taking this Roshan fight. They may still try just because giving up an Aegis and Cheese feels like a death sentence.
I think they can attempt it. They have BKBs on both Weaver and Death Prophet, so they're not super worried about the Mars ultimate.
Solar Crest and Alacrity, though, that is making Roshan feel real squishy. HellRaisers, they need to get a little bit closer, poke a bit more if they want to force Ninjas Pyjamas out of the pit. They can stall long enough and get Exorcism back up. Uh-oh, Funnick got caught trying to sneak around the back, and Saberlight says, not this time. Going to be able to swap back in Maposhka to his death, a buyback on the support, but none for the core. HellRaisers going to have to take this Roshan fight 4 versus 5. Exorcism is back up, though. Kasani just barrels straight in, activates his BKB Blade Mail, does need a little bit of save. Spirit Siphon is actually going to heal him up to full pretty nicely, thanks in part to the stomp from Roger. See if they can actually take away this Aegis. They're going to pop Maposhka. He threw up that ultimate because he knew he was going to die. The tornado goes out, and Charlie takes the Aegis and Cheese, even as Kasani takes the Roshan kill. Now just Kasani pretty much against the world. Roger with a beautiful stomp onto 4, but it's not enough to get Kasani out of here. That Exorcism is going to fade away eventually, but so many Ninja Pyjamas members are here. Doesn't even matter if he gets healed up. A spear to finish things off. That'll be 4 dead with a GG call from HellRaisers. They had a nice last hurrah, showed that they could put together a team fight once. But other than that, it was Ninjas of Pyjamas. Pretty dominant victory, it felt like, Peter.